This land has mystery. Coming to you live, well, coming to you taped from between Durango and Telluride, Colorado. Southwestern Colorado in the springtime is unlike any place on earth, and there's no place I'd rather be right now than where I am. And if you've never been here to Durango or Telluride or San Juan National Forest, make a trip of it, especially in the spring or summer, because it is just gorgeous here. And if you're a skier, this is paradise too. In today's video, I'm just going to discuss a few different ways that I keep myself and keep my van protected while I'm on the road. Protect it from thieves, protect it from malevolent actors. In a future video, I'll be discussing online security because even though it doesn't necessarily pertain to van life, it is something we all need to be aware of. It's something I talk a lot about with people, and I figured I'll just share my tips for online security, take it or leave it. But today's video is going to focus specifically on safety and preparation while on the road in these few completely random tips and tricks that I'll share with you just now. So the first random tip and trick is to spray your catalytic converter with bright spray paint. Why mystery? Well, because precious metals are in high demand right now. The pandemic has a lot of people down and out of work, and catalytic converter thefts are way, way up.
And law enforcement saying that this is up year to year, get this, some 400%.
In San Diego, between July and December, nearly 250 catalytic converters were stolen, an increase of more than 600% from the first part of the year.
There are some cities where you can even drive your car into like a police precinct and they'll spray it for you. The best thing to do is to spray it with a high temperature spray paint and then to etch your VIN into the catalytic converter where you've painted it. Thieves will just go underneath your car, just take a hacksaw, grab your catalytic converter, take it to a scrapyard, and they'll get a few $100s for it. Now, who's most at risk for catalytic converter theft? People with newer vehicles, people with hybrid vehicles, people with higher ground clearance vehicles because it's easier for thieves to get underneath them.
Check this out. The clearance to get underneath is about 3 feet. Then all you have to do is zip under there and cut out the converter.
People who park on city streets.
This latest incident is part of a sharp increase in catalytic converter thefts.
Back at home, this is what was left behind, the catalytic converter cut out of Karina's 2008 Toyota Prius. Her insurance plan won't cover the theft, so Karina must pay the $2,000 repair bill out of pocket. It was just 2 years ago thieves stole a catalytic converter out of the same car. The Prius is the most targeted by thieves.
What I'd recommend is to get a very high temperature, bright spray paint, get underneath your car, spray paint that cat converter, and etch your VIN into the bottom of it. There are a lot of very precious metals in your catalytic converter. They all end in IUM, I-U-M, rhodium and palladium, I don't even know.
The devices are stolen for precious metals contained inside.
Listen, the thieves are not actually looking for the catalytic converter itself. They're looking for what's inside the catalytic converter. There are precious metals inside there, and they are sold on the black market.
The less your catalytic converter has had to work, so if you have a newer car or a hybrid car, the more valuable it will be for those metals. My cat converter would be worth a little bit of money, but they're probably not going to bother with it. I still take the precaution because a can of paint like this is 10 bucks. You need a paint that goes up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,000 degrees Celsius, because that's one of the hottest components on your vehicle. And if you spray it with any other kind of paint, it's just going to burn off. Very high temperature VHT spray paint you can get at any automotive parts store. So if you have a vehicle that is at high risk, I would recommend getting something like this CAT security system. You can also buy them on Amazon, but it's supposed to protect your catalytic converter from theft. And it's going to be a good deterrent against thieves because they're going to see the system and be like, okay, I don't have the tools or the time to spend an hour or two taking this thing apart. These are the most popular vehicles for it. I guess it's pretty much all Priuses, or Prii if that's plural, and the Honda Element. $160. Considering that if you have to replace a stolen catalytic converter, it's probably going to cost $2,000 or $3,000. Your insurance may or may not cover it. And if you live in certain states, like in California, for example, you can't necessarily use an aftermarket CAT converter because their emission standards are so stringent. So you might have to buy a brand new one and have it installed professionally. So that's going to be a huge, huge cost. So if it were me, if I had, say, this vehicle that is a very high target vehicle for CAT converter theft, I would spend the $160, no question. So while you're etching your VIN into where you spray painted on your catalytic converter, it's a good idea to etch your VIN number, or VIN, saying number is kind of redundant.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
On my van, the manufacturer, Toyota, etched my VIN into all the windows. So it's kind of annoying if you're one of those people who likes to protect it, like I am. You don't want any random person to just come and see your VIN, but they've etched it into all my windows. It's etched into random places throughout the van. See if your car is, and if it's not, I'd recommend writing it in Sharpie in random places, etching it if you have an etcher, something so that if your vehicle is stolen, you've got your VIN etched, because each vehicle has a unique vehicle identification number, and it makes your vehicle more traceable if it is ever stolen. So another random mystery tip and trick is to keep your valet key or your spare key in a box somewhere outside the vehicle. Don't put it underneath the wheel well, because thieves know that's what people do. Hide it very well. I've got this little box here. It's really hard to open. I'm not even going to try, but I've got my valet key in here, and I hide it very well somewhere outside the van. I'm not going to say where, obviously, but you should probably do the same thing, especially if you don't have roadside assistance, AAA or something similar. If you go out way in the middle of nowhere, you don't have a satellite phone, you don't have cell service, then you might want to consider investing in, a $5 or $10 magnetic key box that you can hide somewhere outside your vehicle in the event that you are ever locked out of the vehicle. Of course, you can take a coat hanger and unlock the vehicle the old-fashioned way, but you're potentially going to ding up your paint. Do you have a coat hanger handy? So this is a good fail-safe option. Just make sure that you hide it in a place that is difficult for you to find, because if it's difficult for you to find, a thief is never going to find it. So a long time ago, before there was even a Mr. in front of my name, because I was so young, my license plates were stolen off my vehicle. And it was very annoying. Got a free trip to the DMV, which was great. Since then, maybe 2 days after that, I went to an auto parts store and got special license plate bolts. And they require a special Allen key. They work just like normal bolts, but you need the special Allen key to remove them. Now, a thief who really wants to steal your license plates is going to steal your license plates. They're either going to have one of these handy, or they're just going to rip it off some other way or cut it off. This is just meant to be a deterrent. It's meant to make the thief think twice and say, well, I'll go to this other car where it's easier to steal their tags. So it's pretty simple the way it works. You just have this Allen key that comes with the set when you buy the bolts. You can't really see it. You're not going to be able to see it. But it's got an opening. It's hollowed out, so it fits right in there. You see there's a little nipple inside the bolt, whereas a normal Allen key would just be wide open, but you need a special key to remove it. If you try to put a normal Allen key or Allen wrench in there, it's not going to fit because that little nipple in there. But this one will fit, and you would just put it in, undo the bolts. I've got 2 of them in the rear, 2 in the front, and it's a quick little theft deterrent. They'll give you new license plates at the DMV, but who wants to go to the DMV? Who wants to deal with that hassle? So for a few dollars, you can just get these special bolts with the special key. Just make sure if you use one of those, you don't lose the key. So finally, invest in a dash cam. A dash cam is a really good idea in case you're in an accident and it's not your fault especially. You've got proof right there that it wasn't. Also, you get some pretty cool videos.
Courage Undaunted and with a fidelity to truth and all that stuff, that beautiful tribute to Lewis. Here's what Jefferson says to Humboldt at the same time.
There are other people on YouTube who have shared their interesting and wacky dash cam videos.
Сейчас бы танком переехали бы. Смотри, Алена, там.
It's a really good thing to have, and it records on a loop. So it records, usually you can set it, but I have mine recording in 3-minute increments, and it goes until the disc is full, and then it goes back and it starts erasing from the earliest to the latest. So my dash cam comes on when the vehicle turns on, and so it just starts recording automatically. And you can see on the left side there, the little micro SD card. That just records in a loop, so if I ever get some good video, I can just remove that. This one is also Wi-Fi enabled, but I don't trust it, so I haven't enabled it. But you can. It also has a motion sensor, so even if the vehicle is off, the dash cam will activate. So if somebody, say, runs into your vehicle in a parking lot or is attempting to break into it, this will turn on and start recording. Now, obviously, it's only going to record out the front, what's happening out the front. So if somebody's braking in the side or the back, you're not going to catch them on camera. It's good passive security, and it can turn up good videos too from time to time. But I would recommend a dash cam. They're relatively cheap. You get some good video, and if you ever need it to prove something, you've got that video. All right, well, that's all I've got for you from my bag of random tricks. Thanks for watching. If I don't see you here in southwestern Colorado, I hope to see you someplace else in the world.
Potato. How's it? So, you write phonetically. Put up. There you go.